it's the Average Dan, and welcome to the first episode of Talk Datatome. I am joined by Famous from FLW Videos.
Hello guys, glad to be here and very excited for the first episode of the podcast.
I'm definitely excited as well, and today we're going to tackle Sub4Sub. Could it be a good thing? Let's find out. Alright, for those of you who are not familiar with Sub4Sub, Sub4Sub basically means that you agree to subscribe to somebody's channel in return for them subscribing to your channel. Now, this particular practice is considered taboo within the YouTube world due to the fact that you're not really engaging with a person and they're not likely to engage with your channel. Now, there are some people who claim there could be benefits to actually engaging in Sub4Sub.
So, like we said, the most common thing you're going to hear is a lot of negative things about Sub4Sub. But there actually are a couple of benefits that you can get from it, such as, a sign of success. Maybe if you have a higher subscriber count, you are considered a successful YouTuber. Or maybe you're just simply trying to unlock some features on your YouTube channel that can only come from a certain subscriber amount.
Yeah, and those are certainly opportunities that may be very attractive, especially to a new YouTuber. The idea of success is in all circles within the YouTube community. There are certainly people who judge success based on your subscriber count. Everybody's trying to raise their subscriber
count.
And
you have to say that for all of you guys out there, what is the first question that somebody asks you if you mention that you have a YouTube channel? They're going to say what? How many subscribers do you have and how many views do you have? That is basically the measure of success that people have when they're talking about your channel.
Yeah, and that can certainly offer an opportunity for YouTubers, especially new YouTubers, to fall victim to the idea that Sub4Sub could be a good thing. But if you look deeper into Sub4Sub and how YouTube actually functions, I think you'll find that it's more of a pitfall than an actual opportunity. So one of the questions that comes to mind in my mind is, above and beyond the status symbol of a subscriber count, and especially a higher one, is what does that subscriber count actually mean to you? Why is the sub count important? Well, for the new YouTuber, somebody who's not familiar with the process, it is a status symbol. They think if they have the high subscriber count that they're successful. But once you get under the hood and you learn how YouTube works, you start to find that it's not really that simple.
Okay, so something kind of cool. I just now thought about this. So an example of a high subscriber count that is not necessarily a successful channel would be a long time ago when channels posted videos like music videos with the lyrics on it. I'm sure if any of you have looked up a music video where you just want to see the lyrics, you can go look at the channel and maybe the person has posted one video, but they somehow, have 15 million views and they have 20,000 subscribers, and all they did was post a video with lyrics on it to a song that they didn't even create. Do you consider that successful? Well, some would say, yeah, they have a high view count, so obviously they did something right. I'd probably lean to that's just a little bit off to me, because first off, it's not even their content and they don't even care. They just wanted to get a video out there just for people to have that.
That also brings up the other concept of what is success on YouTube? Why are you actually creating videos? Right. As Famous touched on, from that perspective, it's more of, the artistic success that you produce something of quality. Obviously, it takes very little skill to write words over a video and play it on YouTube. However, if you are in a position and you find a way to do it where you could actually use the music and monetize it, somebody might find that highly successful from a business perspective if they were able to monetize a video like that gets a lot of views and a lot of minutes viewed, that's going to raise the money that they earn on YouTube considerably. On the other hand, and one of the things that popped into my head while Famous was discussing that type of video are how-to videos. One of the things that I did when I started YouTube is I made repair videos for vehicles, and in my situation I was getting high view counts and high minutes, which in my mind is a measure of success, but those types of people don't typically subscribe to a channel because they're doing a Google search or they're coming on YouTube and searching for how to fix my vehicle. They get their answer and they move on.
But does that mean that you're not successful simply because you don't have a high subscriber count?
And that is the...
That's no.
Right, and that's the point. Once you understand how YouTube actually works, it becomes abundantly clear that just getting an artificially high sub count is not going to help you in the long run. So one of the things that we actually look at, and what you need to understand, is in the organic growth of your channel, subs create views and views create minutes. Minutes are king. YouTube cares about minutes. The only thing that YouTube doesn't care how creative your video was, how good your transitions were, whether you put everything together and you had that, 3 different dramatic angles in your video. What they care about is you pulling somebody to YouTube and keeping them on YouTube as long as possible. And that even means keeping them on YouTube on other people's videos. You could potentially create a playlist on your channel of other people's videos, and if you're successful in driving people from your channel to those, they will consider you an asset and they will go out of their way to promote your content, which is obviously going to help you in the monetization department and provide you with that financial level of success if that is, if that's ultimately what you're going for. So that's kind of the idea that the subscribers only drive the ultimate success of a YouTube channel if they're,
which is watchmen.
Yeah, if they're organic and they're actually from somebody who has interest in what you're actually producing as a creator. And along those lines, one of so as we already mentioned, YouTube is going to look at certain channels and say, hey, those guys are getting me minutes, I want to promote them. Well, one of the quickest ways you can stop YouTube from promoting them is having a really skewed sub to view ratio. So when you go out and you get 2,000 subs because you jumped into one of those Sub4Sub live streams or whatever the case may be, and we'll get into those in a minute because that's quite the amazing thing. It's a sight to be seen.
Yes. So Dan finally got to experience that for the first time.
It was something that Famous mentioned to me, and I was so curious I had to go check.
You had to go see it, and once you do,
it's kind of a creepy place to hang out. So. But
it's the dark side of YouTube.
Yeah, it's kind of like a back alley. It's the dark web of YouTube. But the important thing is that sub to view ratio. YouTube is not stupid. They know what a typical sub to view ratio is, and if you have 5,000 subscribers and 500 views, they know that you did something that wasn't organic, and that's basically going to destroy your ratio. And you're going to piss off the algorithm, and they're never going to want to promote you. So good luck ever getting views on legitimate videos after that. Alright, so one of the things we touched on earlier were these Sub4Sub live streams, and I'm telling you, it's something pretty crazy to behold. So I'm going to let Famous walk you through those, and we're going to take a look at one right now. You really won't believe this.
So, the best way to do it is to just see it for yourself. You'll see the madness. That is the Sub4Sub Center via a live stream, which is insane. I know originally when you thought of Sub4Sub a long time ago, you'd think going to a big YouTuber channel and just simply saying, subscribe to my account and I'll subscribe to yours. Or maybe posting something in a Facebook group simply saying, who wants to Sub4Sub? But I'm telling you, in this dark corner of the YouTube community, Sub4Sub has evolved. There are things called Sub4Sub centers where people can go to submit a Sub4Sub, and the comments are filtered in a certain way where the most recent are at the top, so you can find people who are recently doing it. But this is just the craziest that I've seen, is opening up actual videos where people go in live and try to do Sub4Subs. So they are going to potentially rack up an insane amount of subs very quickly. And you might think, well, hey, the only person who's going to benefit from this are the people in the live chat. Well, that is a misconception, because the other person who benefits from it the most is the person who actually hosts these live streams. YouTube is not cracking down on these types of people, and if we were to look at this, in this case, we might end up finding out that this person has 10,000 subscribers, 20,000 subscribers, and all they're doing is literally opening up a live Sub4Sub center for people to go in and basically beg for subs. That is some scary stuff, that someone can get some insane numbers and they do not have to do anything. And Dan, we talked about this. This is the scariest thing of them all. Once you cross 1,000 subscribers, you can enable the super chat feature. Could you imagine how deadly something like that would be in a live Sub4Sub session?
And not only that, but talking about some of the benefits of getting your sub count up, is there are certain sponsor websites that don't open up until you have 1,000 subscribers.
Absolutely, and we can talk a little bit about the milestones. That's definitely one of the benefits that I can see with doing a Sub4Sub. And we talked a little bit earlier about that.
Right. Getting back to these live Sub4Sub videos, I find it absolutely amazing with Sub4Sub being against YouTube terms of service that they're actually able to exist and thrive within the YouTube community. I mean, in this case, they're not only are channels actively participating, but as you can see on the screen, it actually displays all their channels once they do whatever the ritual is for the way in which they're supposed to comment in the chat. But like Famous said, my goodness, you get super chat involved in this, and it's almost encouragement for people to create an environment which I think just kind of makes my skin crawl. It makes me feel like I'm in a back alley doing some type of illegal act just to be in the group. But when you create the environment, as YouTube is currently doing, where people can prosper by engaging in this, you can almost understand why some people would get involved in it. I mean, there are numerous channels listed on the screen, and my first thought when I went in is, here's an example of 20-30 channels that are destined to fail because they may feel like they're being successful in doing this, but a majority of them have double-digit subscriber counts. There are a couple in there that actually have 600, 700, 800 subscribers, but when you realize this is the type of activity that they're engaging in, you soon realize that they probably don't have any content to back up these subscribers. And one of the other things that Famous and I talked about earlier is the idea that maybe a high sub count might drive somebody to go, oh, you're probably somebody with good content, let me go to your site. But what they're going to find is they're quickly going to realize upon visiting your site that there's no content there of any significance to drive that type of subscriber count. So,
and that is confusing. I mean, how many times have you seen that?
And I obviously you can tell, by the name of this podcast and some of the interaction that Famous and I have, that we're both analytical people who are interested in
driven-minded. Yeah. I mean, the data doesn't lie.
Right, and when you look at the data long enough, you can see patterns that look very suspicious. When you have, because subscribers, yes, you'll have highs and lows, but it kind of runs in a flow. So when you see certain channels that have these really weird plateaus, or they'll have like 5 subs a day for 6 months, and then suddenly 50 subscribers in one day, and then drop back down to 5, those are the kind of things that make you wonder exactly what type of activities they're involved in to increase their subscriber count. Alright, so we've certainly covered a lot of information today regarding Sub4Sub, so stick with us as we share our final thoughts. Alright, so we've covered a lot of information today, but just to recap, Sub4Sub is not real growth. It's going to destroy your sub to view ratio, which means YouTube will not promote you. It's also not going to lead to views and therefore is not going to lead to minutes. So again, YouTube will not promote you. Any way you look at it, Sub4Sub is bad for business.
Now hold on. We can't look at it like it's all black and white. There's definitely some pros to doing Sub4Sub as well. Now I do agree with you that if you're just starting off YouTube, I would avoid Sub4Sub like the plague. But at a later point in time, maybe you set yourself some milestones, like you say, I will not even consider it until I cross over 10,000 views and can get into monetization. Or once you cross a certain amount of subscribers. Focus on your content first. That's what's going to drive the views, drive the minutes, what you need. But for Sub4Sub, once you get a little more sophisticated in your YouTube career, you can use it for some benefits such as getting a custom URL at 100 subscribers, or maybe even a little further on with something such as Super Chat at 1,000 subscribers. You would be able to enable it. And something that we talked about was also being able to take on some paid, monetized, not only advertisements, but kind of product placements that you could enable at 10,000 subscribers. So maybe you do use Sub4Sub to get to those numbers just to simply unlock a feature that's going to help you and your channel grow.
Alright, well, we've certainly covered a lot of information today. We've given you a lot of information about Sub4Sub, including the typical reaction people have to it, and maybe some scenarios that people don't typically talk about. That's all for this episode of Talk Data to Me. Next week we're going to do something a little bit different, and we're going to actually analyze data from somebody's YouTube channel. Would you like to be that somebody? If so, leave your comments below. Tell us why you'd like us to take a look at your channel, and you could be the one we pick. We'll see you next week.
Little player.